What's going on, everyone? I hope you're having an awesome day so far, and welcome back to another episode of Chuck's Customs. So, if you've seen the last episode, you know that we got the axles ripped out from under Bessie and put on the new frame. But you also saw I wasn't able to get the engine installed because I was running into some clearance issues and I was kind of running out of time. So with that being said, the goal for today's video is to get the entire running gear completely installed. Obviously, we already got the axles in, so that means we got to mount the engine, transmission crossmember, transfer case, and drive shafts. And I think we might be able to do it in one episode. I don't see why not. But only one way to get it done, and that's to get started. So let's get into it. Also, pretty much since I've started making videos here on YouTube, I've had complaints about the sound quality. So I invested in one of these little lavalier microphones. Would really love your guys' feedback. Does it help? Do you not like it? Let me know in the comments section. So let me give you a quick rundown of what was happening when I tried to install the engine in the last episode. When I had the engine lowered in place, it just would not properly sit on the engine mounts. And I couldn't help but notice that compared to the actual mounts on the engine, these mounts looked like they were sitting lower and a little bit closer together. So by the time I got one bolt in one side, the other side was just way too far off from where it needed to be. The oil pan was hitting, and I noticed that my flywheel was really close to this crossmember here. So naturally, I looked at Bessie's old setup, and I couldn't help but notice that on this new frame, it only gives me one option of where I can set the motor mount. But over here on Bessie, it gives me two separate options, and clearly I was mounted on the higher of the two options. So I think for now, the best option would be to try and drill some new holes and see if that helps at all. And if not, then we'll have to figure something else out. Alright, so let me show you where we're at on this. I got that bolt most of the way in. The holes just aren't quite lining up front to back, so I didn't really want to push it all the way through yet. Anyway, we're definitely a lot closer to lining up, but as you can see, that still needs to come down at least 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches. But as you can see, we're really close to that crossmember with the oil pan. I don't know how well you can see it, but definitely like maybe 3/8 of an inch away. So by the time that comes all the way down over there, it's definitely going to be hitting right there. It also doesn't help that I seem to have misplaced one of the bolts that goes through the engine mount. Like, I had both of them a few days ago when I was out here trying to mount it before, but one of them's just kind of gone. So, but I'm not really worried about that right this minute because we're not going to be able to mount it anyway. First, we got to get that crossmember situated. Now, the other day, I was looking at this heavy-duty crossmember that I made for Bessie, and it looks like it might fit. So, it's getting dark out now. First thing tomorrow, I'm going to rip that crossmember out, rip that crossmember out, and then try to put that crossmember in there, and then we'll try to set the engine in place. And who knows, maybe in the process of doing all that tomorrow, I'll find that missing bolt. goodness. I don't know about you, but to me, that is a beautiful sight, because I'd say that looks like pretty darn good progress. Now, I don't want to waste too much of your time. I'm just going to fill you in on what I'm doing next and why I'm doing it that way. Right now, I've got this chain holding up the transmission, because if that wasn't there, obviously there's only 2 mounts holding the engine in, it would just fall down. So I really want to start building the transmission crossmember. However, the biggest issue I had with my last transmission crossmember is that when the front drive shaft went in, it sat like super close to that crossmember. So I would like to go ahead and install the transfer case. That way I can put that front drive shaft in, hopefully it still fits, and then I can fab that crossmember around that drive shaft. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it. Now that is a beautiful sight if I have ever seen one. Now unfortunately my camera died while I was building the crossmember for the transmission. But as you can see, it ended up being pretty basic. I just bent these plates to whatever angle that is, and then bolted them in, so that little bit ain't going anywhere. I gotta say it's taking a lot of willpower not to just put the cab on the new frame right now. However, I want to take advantage of this openness that I have right now to install the fuel lines, brake lines, and exhaust. But before I can do that, I need to install the fuel tanks. So let's do that. Alrighty everyone, we got a lot done in today's video, but unfortunately it's getting a little bit too long, so we're gonna cut it here for today. With that being said, if you liked what you saw, go ahead and show that thumbs up button some love. If you didn't like what you saw, or you have questions or concerns, let me know in the comments section, because I'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, if you want to see what we're getting into in the next episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. I'll give you a hint. We're going to be putting the cab on and most likely driving it. So thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time on another episode of Chuck's Customs.